Hey folks, John Peterson here, and in today's video I wanted to give you a little bit of a behind the scenes look at what it was like living on board a sailing schooner traveling through the fjord systems of Eastern Greenland. In August of 2024, I headed out to Greenland to embark on this expedition. It was part photo workshop, part exploration, part just life experience, and it was just a magical time. Part of this experience is living aboard a sailing boat that was built in the 1950s and traveling through these deep fjords in Scoresby Sound, which is on the eastern coast of Greenland. And, I've never really done a live aboard experience on a sailing boat quite like this. And so I was a little unsure of what the experience would be like. I had a good feeling I was going to enjoy it. And boy, by the end of this trip, I was absolutely in love with this boat and in love with the immersive experience that one can have when you are on this sort of live aboard adventure. And, sometimes when we do photo workshops or just take photo trips, we'll go to a hotel and we'll go out for the day and we'll come back and we'll have a normal meal at a restaurant, do all that kind of stuff. But on a trip like this, you are on your floating habitation. You live there, you eat there, you shoot there, you travel there, and so everything is contained on this boat. And you don't have this little sort of dose of real life and then photography and then real life and photography. You are immersed in the environment and in the experience 24/7. And it's really a cool experience to go through. And it's one that I would highly recommend if you have the chance to do something like this. So in this video, I wanted to give you a brief look at what it was like living aboard the Opal, which was one of the three vessels in this fleet that we were on, traveling through Eastern Greenland. So the Opal is roughly 108 feet long, and it is about 35 feet wide, I believe is what it is. So that seems sort of ample enough, but imagine 12 to 15 people on board for 8 days. Life could get interesting. But thankfully on our trip, we had a great group of people, we had a great crew, and all of that added up to just being a magical experience. So let's dive in and take a look at what it was like on board the Opal. The Opal is a traditionally rigged schooner, originally built in 1958. It is powered by 2 mainsails and a jib, and was retrofitted with an electric motor in the early 2000s to allow us to sail silently through the fjords. When the weather was nice, we could leave our photography gear on deck and grab it any time we want. The Opal is wide enough that we could fly our drones from the deck as well as intermingle in different parts of the ship without feeling crowded with one another. Now, when it came to living aboard the boat, that was something that took a little bit of adjustment. We're used to larger homes, apartments, whatever it may be, even hotel rooms. But, boarding a boat with limited space took a little bit of adjustment. Number one, to the space, and then number two, to having a constantly moving platform that you're walking along, standing on, eating on. It was fun to sort of look in a third person and watch myself adapt and adjust to living on board the boat. But after a day or two, it became natural. It became comfortable. It became home. It was our own little safe haven to living aboard the boat. From the narrow stairways to the bathrooms to the eating arrangements, it all worked out extremely well for us. At first, the hatchways and steep stairs seemed daunting, but after a few days, it all became second nature. There were 2 staterooms in the front of the boat and 4 staterooms in the middle of the boat. Each stateroom had 2 bunks, an upper bunk and a lower bunk, and both of them were ample enough to fit a 6-foot-plus person. And storage space is limited, but that's okay because we didn't bring a lot of stuff with us. There was 1 small bathroom up front, 1 small bathroom, larger bathroom in the rear, and the main living space in the boat was this dining room with the kitchen just off of that. We all sat around tables, enjoyed our meals, and socialized. We occasionally got off the boat and took small hikes on land and enjoyed stretching our legs and seeing some different scenery. And when on board, we enjoyed most of our time being on deck. And plus, there was a hot tub at the rear of the boat. And of course, every good expedition or army runs on their stomachs. And we had a fantastic chef with us on this trip. He was a classically trained chef. He served in the Danish military. His name was Jacob. And he prepared fresh food every single day. We had a mix of seafood. We had Mexican night one night. We had lots of soups, fresh made bread. Every morning we had fresh made buns, meats, and cheeses. And the food on this trip was absolutely amazing. And what was critical for us, being that it was cold and windy at times, it has a chance to deplete our energy. And so keeping up our energy was important. And having the right food and good tasting food was magical on this trip. All the food was provisioned on board, and each day the chef would come up to the pantry and select the ingredients for the day. And each day he would make fresh food inside of his tiny kitchen. The food was phenomenal. We ate in the main galley, and when it was nice, we ate out on deck. We even tried shark and vodka. And being that the Opal was the largest vessel in this company's fleet, it was wide enough and big enough for us to enjoy many different activities on deck. I spent most of my time up on deck, no matter the weather, because I wanted to see the beautiful sights as they passed by. You know, there was room to relax, there was room to just sort of hang out, there was room for conversation. When the weather got a little bit warmer and nicer, people came up on deck and read books. And most importantly for us as photographers, there was a ton of room for us to move about with our cameras and get some of the great photos that we ended up with. I tell you, the fun little bit also is that this boat is big enough that we could launch and retrieve our drones from the deck of the boat. Now that was a little bit challenging at times for us who've never done that before, because we have all this rigging around us, you know, all the sails and ropes and railings and everything else, and it was a little bit of a learning curve. to take off safely, get away from the boat, go out and do our flight, and then come back and land it on the deck. So that was a lot of fun. But the Opal is such an enjoyable boat to be on because it allows us so much room. Photographing with our still cameras or flying our drones from the deck was the main reason we were there, and the Opal provided plenty of room to do both. When the wind picked up, all of the visitors were invited to help raise the sails on the boat. We got a great lesson in how a sailboat runs, including cleaning up the deck of lines and putting away sails, dressing out the ropes. It was a wonderful sailing lesson for those who've never experienced that before. For those feeling adventurous, they could climb the rigging up to the crow's nest or go out on the front bowsprit mast and see the world go by. And let me tell you, it was a phenomenal view from the front of the boat. And at the end of the day, we could relax in a beautiful wooden hot tub on the stern deck of the Opal. Well, there you have it. There's a little look at what it's like living aboard an expedition sailing vessel and going through the fjords of Eastern Greenland. Now, I hope to get back there in 2026, and if so, we might be on a slightly different boat, but you know, by and large, the experience is roughly the same, right? You have smaller quarters to live in. You're a big family all living on a boat. But the joy of silently sailing through this gorgeous, dramatic scenery is absolutely incredible. It was truly a trip of a lifetime, and I hope to be able to share that with others in the future. So if you have any questions, comments, whatever, leave comments down below. If you found this video and aren't subscribed to my channel, please tickle the button, hit the subscribe button, do all that kind of good stuff. And if not, stay tuned for more videos from Greenland and elsewhere around the United States. All right, folks, take care. Bye-bye.